welcome back to another episode of the Games Gone By podcast. It is November 17th at the time of this recording. I'm your host, Adam, and joining me as always, the gaming expert and enthusiast, Austin. Austin, buddy, are you ready to talk about this year's The Video Game Award nominees?
I am so excited. You know I love this stuff. This is like my favorite time of year. I love award shows. I've already made my Grammy list of all the things nominated for Grammys. I'm waiting for Oscars. I love award shows. I know they're stupid, but I don't know. I like celebrating good things.
Listen, man, I'm pretty ambivalent toward award shows, but I love how much you love award shows, and that's why I'm here. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. I love talking about this shit.
So the nominees just came out today around 12 noon. We've been kind of going back and forth on Discord all day talking about them. But I think we're just going to go through all the categories, talk about what's been nominated, kind of give our thoughts on what's been nominated, maybe talk about what should have been, and ultimately give a little prediction about what we think will win. And I think we'll start at the top here with most anticipated game because I think this category is dumb.
I put this one when I was listing it out at the top because I knew you didn't want to talk about it for long. It's we're going to start talking about games for next year and the years beyond before we get into this year's stuff. You want to read out these nominees?
Yeah, so we have Grand Theft Auto 6, Resident Evil Requiem, which I guess would be 9, essentially.
Yeah.
007 First Light, The Witcher 4, and Marvel's Wolverine. Now, I will say I had zero idea there was a anticipated James Bond game in development.
It was announced a couple years ago. I think they kind of teased it, and then it was officially revealed, I think, this year at the Summer Games Fest thing that Jeff does.
Okay.
For me, this category is missing one game, and that's only because it hasn't been officially revealed, but this for me would be the new Final Fantasy VII, whatever they're gonna call it, Reunion, Rebirth, Refantasio, whatever, right? This would be my game for this, but it hasn't been officially revealed. So I think for me, this is Marvel's Wolverine. I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
I'm probably in the same camp. We loved the Spider-Man games. This is the same studio, right? I'm not getting that wrong?
Yep. Same studio, okay, yeah. Same team, yeah.
So that'll be a lot of fun. I already know both of us are going to pick that up when it comes out, and probably before even reviews come out because we're just like that. But sorry, yeah, we are the problem. The rest of these, though, some of these, it's there's not even a guarantee these come out next year.
I know.
Obviously you're hoping, but
I feel like GTA 6 has been in this category 3 times now because it just keeps getting delayed. And Witcher 4, I don't think is next year. I don't think there's any way Witcher 4 is next year. And I guess it doesn't necessarily say it has to be a game next year.
Yeah.
But I do think the winner of this is going to be GTA 6 though. Obviously.
We were talking about how they need to nail down guidelines for the indie category. Maybe one of the guidelines for this should be release date.
Yes. It needs to have a formalized release date and, any sort of expectation to hit that release date.
So I'm with you. I wish the next Final Fantasy VII was on here. Otherwise, I will say Marvel's Wolverine. But let's be honest, we all know what's going to win this category.
Yeah. Witcher 4 has a shot in the dark, I guess, but it's GTA 6.
So let's move on to Best Adaptation. Now, I didn't see any of these, but it is a Minecraft movie, Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell Deathwatch, The Last of Us Season 2, and Until Dawn. Correction, I actually saw about 30 minutes of Until Dawn, and I knew I didn't need to see any more of it. That was bad.
That one is not going to win. I think that is a clear line in the sand. Until Dawn has no shot. I was literally watching Kind of Funny's reaction and discussion of this, and I think it was Tim Geddes got so upset because he was like, Until Dawn is trash. We deserve better than having this even being in a nominee. And I was like, oof, okay.
Are there just not enough adaptations to go any other way besides these? And what are these second two or 2 and 3 here? Devil May Cry and Splinter Cell. Are these Netflix animes?
Yes, those are Netflix animes.
Okay.
Sonic 3 should probably be in this category because it released in December of last year. So it would qualify because it missed the cutoff date. And I think Sonic 3 is universally more beloved than Until Dawn, for sure. So, like, I don't know why it missed it. I guess people just forgot that it existed. But I would definitely swap Sonic 3 in for Until Dawn. I haven't actually seen Sonic 3, but it got a lot better reception than Until Dawn did.
I'm not like tuned into these kind of things at all. I had absolutely no idea there was even a second Sonic movie, much less a third one that came out an entire year ago. Holy hell.
Yeah, Sonic 3 has like Shadow in it, and Shadow's voiced by Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it's pretty it's like going with Sonic Adventure 2 style. I even think like Live and Learn is in there somewhere. Like it's very like going for Sonic Adventure energy.
Well, that's cool. It does seem like that would have been preferable to some of these. I mean, I haven't seen the Devil May Cry or the Splinter Cell animes at all. I just like based on what I know about the Minecraft movie, that's not my thing. And The Last of Us season 2, I didn't get around to season 2 yet, but I did not hear quite the positive things about it that the first season garnered. So.
Yeah, I think for me, Devil May Cry is the pick here. Like, it is my pick. I liked that. I didn't see Splinter Cell. And I didn't see Minecraft. I did see Last of Us Season 2. It's good, but it definitely has some flaws, and I think it will keep it from winning. Devil May Cry was really cool. It's like got a lot of action, and it's very stylized, which is what you would expect from Devil May Cry. It does have some like weird plot things and some weird like pacing problems and like it does some weird things in its plot. But for the most part, I thought it was pretty good. And I think it has a decent shot of winning here only because like everything else is kind of bad.
Yeah, I can always see like an HBO show winning this kind of thing, just kind of like a dark horse candidate. But I will trust you that the Devil May Cry press was actually good.
It was. I do. I mean, Last of Us can obviously win just on the, like you said, it's premiere TV, prestige TV. But I hope this goes to Devil May Cry because I think it's a better pick than everything else. But really, this was just a bad year for adaptations.
All right, moving on now to best ongoing game. We have Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy XIV, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky. Good old No Man's Sky, which has been in this category about as long as GTA 6 has been in the other one. Gotta love that.
It's insane how much that studio has like kept that game alive, kept supporting it. Like it really flopped on launch and then has just continued to gain such a strong following and like so much support. I don't think it wins, but love to see it here.
I'm personally really hopeful for Helldivers 2 because I have continued to have a blast playing that. Like, I don't play it nearly as much as I did the first couple months it came out for sure. But even still, like this past week, during my lunch hours on days I work from home, I usually just drop in for a mission and kill some clankers, kill some bugs. It's still a good time. And there was unfortunately like an entire month I couldn't play it because they'd released a patch that just like completely tanked my FPS in like any of the levels. There's maybe a couple without a whole lot of stuff going on that I could play, but all the big city levels, which is where all the action was happening, I would get like 12 frames and the audio would stop working. It sucked, but that has been fixed. And they've recently talked about wanting to get rid of some of their technical debt. So I have high hopes going forward.
I think Helldivers 2 is probably the one that ends up winning this if I had to guess. I don't think Marvel Rivals is nominated for nearly enough things. So I kind of want to see it win this because I just don't think it's nominated in anything else. And I really did like my time with it. And we haven't really kept going with it, so maybe it's not a good, a good like ongoing game praise there. But I did really like my time with it, and I would like to see it continue to get some like praise and talk about it. And they've released like 10 characters, I think, since launch, so like that is ongoing, and it has had some pretty good support. And I really liked my time with it. And just because it's not nominated for anything else, I'd like to see it pick this one up. But I do think Helldivers 2 is probably the one that will win it.
It will be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, I think it stayed pretty popular, right? Like we definitely fell off of it, but I think it's continued to have a sizable player base.
I definitely think so. I mean, I don't hear nearly as much about it. And I think a lot of the excitement around it has gone down. but I think there's still people playing it, and it does continue to get support. So I can imagine that it has some, there's some push behind it in this category, I would think.
I'm gonna let you handle the next one because I feel like this is all you. And this is like, when we get down to simulation later, that's all me. But this one, in the same way, this one's all you. So
perfect. So next we have Best Fighting Game. The nominees are 2XKO, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo, I believe, is the subtitle on that one. And this is just such an insane category to me because only one of these games is like an actual fully released whole like brand new product. Like this is such a bad year for fighting games. 2XKO is a beta. Capcom Fighting Collection and Mortal Kombat are both just collections of old games. And Virtua Fighter 5 is a re-release of like a 2006 Xbox 360 game. Fatal Fury is the only like actual new title in this entire lineup.
Jeez. Well, I hope it wins for that reason alone.
The only one of these I've actually played is 2XKO. And I actually played that with you.
I was remembering I was just completely bewildered by the lobby, the way it worked. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. That one was kind of fun. I haven't played it since like its full official beta release because we played it in alpha. And I haven't played it since its like full official beta release with like a couple of new characters. Like I think Jinx was added. I don't think Jinx was in when we were in. And there's just been a couple of characters added, and I never did pick it up again. But that one could possibly win this one just because it's got the League of Legends branding behind it. But it being a beta might kind of prevent people from voting for it because like it's not a full release yet. So yeah, Fatal Fury is like the only one that makes sense, but it's just such a weird year for fighting games, man.
Now, to clarify, there wasn't necessarily anything weird about the lobby. I am just that far removed from how fighting games work these days, right?
I was about to say, the lobby just works like pretty much all of Arc System Works lobbies do. So like BlazBlue, all the like anime fighting games all kind of have lobbies similar to that. But yeah, like you said, you just haven't really engaged in that sort of fighting game.
No, not at all. That blew my mind. Cool idea. I think it's pretty cool to have that kind of virtual hangout, but I was like, what am I looking at?
It's almost like an arcade. It's like, I think it's trying to emulate that arcade feel of like you're going to the arcade and like waiting for the next cabinet to open up and blah, blah, blah.
That makes sense. Do you have any, so you're saying you think 2XKO might take it simply from the League of Legends brand?
Yeah, possibly. It's hard to know for sure because, like I said, I haven't really played any of these except for 2XKO. And I thought 2XKO was good, but it just had like such a high skill ceiling, I felt like. I had like no idea what I was doing, and I need to just like get in there and learn how to play it. But I honestly hope it's Fatal Fury just because it's the only one that feels like a full like original release to me.
Our next category here, Best Sports/Racing Game. We have EA Sports FC 26, which is basically the new version of FIFA. F1 25, I assume that's Formula One racing. Mario Kart World, Rematch, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. What is Rematch? Have you any idea?
Rematch is the soccer game from the Sifu developers. That like arena, kind of like arena soccer game.
Yes. Someone was telling me like it's like Rocket League but soccer, and I was like, that's a very confusing way to describe anything. But I get it. Yeah.
It is kind of like that, yes, but like with like Sifu controls, essentially.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. I wanted to try it out, but I never ended up getting around to it, which is why for me this is. I mean, the only one I've actually played is Mario Kart World, but I also think Mario Kart World will probably take it because new Mario Kart, that's like an event, you know?
Yeah. People paid $90 for that, right?
So. That is true. They pay outrageous sums of money for this game. So it will probably, I think it will probably take it here. Of course, EA Sports FC 26 is always an option because soccer. but
Yeah.
I think this one goes to Mario. I think it's, people are excited about Mario Kart always. So
I too, if I had to guess, it would be the Mario branded game is going to win this category.
Yeah.
But like you said, sports, like soccer games have like entire continents behind them, man. So that's like the only thing that can rival a Nintendo fandom. So
right. And there's a lot of international voting that happens. So if, they're feeling compelled to vote for something in that category, they might be like, yeah, well, the soccer game. It's like, yeah, fair enough, I guess. I hate soccer, but whatever.
I don't want to say I hate soccer, but I've certainly never been able to develop an interest in following it despite trying multiple times. I'll leave it at that. Moving on to our next category, we have the best sim/strategy game, which really it's like in a perfect world, these would be two different categories, but I just don't think there's enough coming out each year to split it.
Yeah, I really think that's the problem. I've heard a lot of people say something similar about this category, but it's like, can you even find like 3 more strategy games or 2 or 3 more simulation games to put? Who knows?
Well, if we go to the depths of things like Avalon World of the Fallen or whatever the hell that was.
True.
if we look for games no one's heard of, yeah, we can definitely flesh out the list. But anyway, our nominees for this category, we have The Alters, Final Fantasy Tactics, The Ivalice Chronicles.
I think it's Ivalice, but...
Final Fantasy Tactics Remake.
Perfect.
Jurassic World Evolution 3, Civilization 7, Tempest Rising, and 2 Point Museum. Now, I'm vaguely familiar with all of these, except Tempest Rising. I have absolutely no idea what that is.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm like, I know all of these, but what is a Tempest Rising? I do not know what that is.
Sorry, guys, this is a very casual bonus episode. I will not be doing that amount of research. So we'll talk about the rest of these. I've played some of the 2 Point games. They're cool. I can't imagine 2 Point Museum outclassing any of the rest of these. Same with Jurassic World Evolution 3, of which I had no idea there was even a 2. I did play the first one a decent bit. It's a good bit of fun, but it had some weird waiting mechanics that I'm sure at some part of gaming history would have just felt interesting, but now it just feels like a mobile game. Civ 7 always gets press, but I didn't, Civilization games always do, right? But I feel like I haven't heard the kind of buzz that Civ 5 got about 6 or 7.
Yeah, I have heard very little about Civ 7. In fact, the thing I've probably heard the most, at least after launch today, or after the nominations launched today, I've just heard people going why did Europa Universalis 5 not get nominated over Civ 7? I was like, oh, okay.
All the hardcore strategy gamers now, they just go and play Europa instead of Civilization.
Right. Everybody's like, why did Europa not get nominated over Civ 7? And it's like, oh, that's not a good sign for Civ 7.
Yeah, Firaxis should be feeling bad that Spreadsheets the game is getting more press than their game.
I have a friend who loves those games. I'm like, oof, cannot do it.
They're fun in a way, but even I like to play more of the Rome series. I need I don't mind necessarily the spreadsheets. I just need it alongside my action.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I want to talk about The Alters a little bit because it's the only one on this list I actually played to any real degree. I had a blast with this. You're basically it's a sort of sci-fi setting, and you're this guy who's trying to colonize this planet for this kind of, I say colonize, I don't think there's any living beings there, but they're trying to start some type of extraction process there because there's useful minerals, and you're working for some corporation. And of course, everything goes wrong. And the way that you have to dig out of this predicament is to clone yourself. And so you make a bunch of clones of the main character. And it's really cool because it's they're from different parts of his life and they're different branches of it. So it's a split timeline. So you end up meeting yourself if you never got divorced, which led you to become a doctor instead of a botanist or something like that, right? And this other part where it's you ran away from your abusive father, but if you hadn't, you would have become this instead. And so since these guys are different professions, you clone them, and that helps you do different things around the base, and you have to kind of prioritize it. And then meanwhile, it's a day-based thing, right? You only have so many hours in the day, and every segment of the game you have to get through in a certain number of days before the sun gets too close to this planet you're on. And it's really cool. There's a lot of really awesome ideas. I had a blast with it. It makes a save every single day. So when you inevitably screw up horribly, you can load a few days back and recover. I had a blast with this one, man. I know it's unfortunate. It's one of those games I think like the most press it's got is because they left like an AI generated image in the very back of one corner of one room you don't even have to build. And the internet got mad about it. That you literally could not tell unless you zoomed in, like not in the game. Like in the game, you can't even zoom in close enough to this thing to read it, which is probably how it didn't get caught, right? But of course, some dork had to take like a screenshot and then enhance and do all that crap. And then you can see where like the text in the little sci-fi panel in the back is literally like, sure, I'll write you a prompt for blah, blah, blah. So it's like the chat. And like, yeah, that's kind of funny. I think it is an interesting case as far as like, these studios do need to recognize if they're going to do things like that. They have these just, how do I say this diplomatically? Certain type of person who will lose their mind over things like that. And it's definitely worth keeping a very close eye on where you use that and making sure you replace it before it gets out. It's nowhere on the level of like Call of Duty 7, Black Ops 7, which is using Gen AI art to try to like it's literally the skins, right? It's like the microtransactions are made with Gen AI, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, AI has definitely become the hot button topic. We'll probably talk about it again later when we talk about Arc Raiders. Yeah. But it's definitely become a hot button thing in gaming. I didn't hear about this one with the alters, so it never made it to me. So that, maybe that's a good sign for the alters, the press around it. Because all I heard about it was like, hey, this is a really unique and like neat game. I really think this one has a decent shot of winning. I didn't play it for more than like an hour or two. And when I did play it, I did enjoy. It was hard for me to get like fully invested and like.
There's too much to play, man.
Yeah, there's just a lot of games, man. As we'll find out as we talk about all the games nominated.
Yeah.
But I think this one has a real shot. I think, Final Fantasy Tactics carries the name, right? Final Fantasy. Yeah. It's hard to beat a Final Fantasy game, but I do think the alters did something unique and interesting, and I think that could carry a lot of weight for it.
And for that reason alone, I do hope it wins. But yeah, if I had to make a prediction, it's probably going to be the Final Fantasy Tactics remake, which has been asked for since the day that first game came out, right? It's just, it's one of those things people have been waiting for a long time. So I would be shocked if that didn't win this.
Yeah, and I think it's been pretty well received. I think some people have had some like small complaints about it, but I think for the most part, it's been overall really well received. And it seems hard for me to believe that like something new and weird like the alters would come out and beat it. But it could also have that kind of push for this is unique and different, and we want to reward that.
Voice acting in my Final Fantasy Tactics.
You got it.
All right, moving on to Best Audio Design. Our nominees are Battlefield 6, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, and Silent Hill Rest in Peace. Silent Hill F. I just think that's so funny. That's like how I read it, is like the way Gen Z kids type F in the chat. That's
press F to pay respects,
Yeah, exactly. Silent Hill's dead.
Silent Hill, pay respects.
So this is another one where I played none of these except Clair Obscur, so I have a hard time telling you if any of these have really good audio design.
That's fair. I think Clair Obscur is probably my pick for this one, just because I think the sound design is so important to the parrying and dodge mechanics. Like, we talked about kind of in our episode that like having those sound effects and like the way the sounds that enemies make as they're attacking you is so crucial to nailing those parries, and that you can't just do it all visually. Mm-hmm. And I think the way that impacts your gameplay is important. And I think for that reason alone, it could win this, plus all the just like really strong sound design throughout the rest of the game with like cool sound effects and enemy noises and just like atmospheric sounds that happen throughout a lot of these like really weird areas. I think it has cool sound design. I do think that Death Stranding 2 is probably going to be the one that wins. Uh-huh. Just because it feels like the type of game that would win this category.
Keeley has to throw his boy one win,
Yeah, right. Like I don't think Death Stranding 2 is going to get a lot of stuff here. So this feels like one that it could win. It could go to like Battlefield 6 though, because I know people love, gun noises and like the sound effects that come with like a shooter, like a military shooter like that. I know you have a particular snub here.
I'm not super surprised it's not here because I think it just released too late. But I would have really loved to see Arc Raiders here because, man, the way the gun noises work in that game is crazy. So it's like, it's a typical thing they do in shooters where obviously it's like the closer they are, the more sharp the sound and everything. But I swear in Arc Raiders, it's like you can really tell the difference between the different guns because there's not a ton of them and they fire pretty differently. So you can tell that with the sound. You can tell when they're like hitting metal versus not hitting metal. So you can tell if they're hitting one of the robots in the game. And then also like when they start to get close, it is scary, right? So me and Connor are playing a run the other day and we're in this building. You can hear some just like pop off in the distance. And I'm like, that's far away. We're fine. And suddenly like it sounds a little different a couple seconds later. And Connor's like, I think it's close. Then he opens up this door and we just hear, and we're like, oh my God. Like, and it's just so intense. I feel like it just, the sound adds so much to that game and it's so directional in your headset and it feels so good. And then beyond that, they've worked out a really cool system to where they basically have their own like version of Siri, like a text to speech, that when you ping the items, it says the whole name, which I think is really cool. Instead of just like over here or there's loot.
I think that's one of the things that people have been very controversial about Arc Raiders, right? Is that Siri like text to speech.
I honestly can't tell what exactly people are upset about because there seems to be like a couple different things going on and it's not entirely clear. So like without a doubt, this text to speech thing is like AI voice, 100%. They created their own,
to be basically.
Yeah, they created their own like voice bank for it. Like they hired actors for this purpose explicitly. They paid them. It's all above board with the new like SAG-AFTRA agreement. But they also just used it, I think, for like a handful of NPCs in the game. And I guess that's really bothering people, and I kind of get it. But one, like, I literally, like, I think this is like if you did like a blind taste test Coke kind of thing. If you put real voice actors and these fucking people next to each other. And the reason I say that is because it's like 5 shops that you go to between missions, and they just have like a couple voice lines when you first go in and when you exit the shop. You know what I mean? These are not like important scenes in the game at all. In fact, there's a handful of cutscenes at the beginning, and they actually used real voice actors for all of that, right? So to me, that's just like a total nothing burger, but I can't control what other people get upset about. So,
Yeah, I definitely with you on this one. Like, I'm definitely resistant to AI in art in a lot of places, but this doesn't seem like a big deal, especially if it's all, like you said, above board with the SAG, all the things that they worked out in their last strike, and they worked out all these, all these contingencies that they built around AI, and they said, like, these are what we want to do going forward. And I think a lot of people feel like they caved too much and gave away too much, but it's like, that's what they agreed upon. So it's, if it's all above board, to me, it's kind of like, why are we getting so upset about this? Like, people were paid. The AI is pretty inoffensive as far as how it's used. And it's not like you're taking the job away from somebody. They did it. They got paid for it. They're just helping speed up development now. Like, it just doesn't... It feels like a thing people are mad about for no reason.
Not to mention, like, if the union goes through all this work to, like, play out these guidelines and then people are still upset about it, it doesn't give these firms a whole lot of incentive to ever work with these unions ever again, nor does it really give voice actors incentive to join it. Like, so I think we have to be careful about losing our minds over the thing that's, like, already been decided.
Right, and I don't think I've heard too many people, like, I don't think I've heard too many voice actors who are a part of the union complain about the resolutions that they got. Like,
right.
I think for the most part, they seem, maybe they wish they could have gotten a couple more protections, but for the most part, they seem happy with what they got. So, yeah, it does feel like maybe this is, like, I get it. You don't want AI to be creeping into all of your games, but we're at a point where, like, it's going to be a part of it. And we just have to find the best way to integrate it without taking jobs away from people or like losing the creative spirit, I think. So our next category is Best Art Direction. And the nominees for that are Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. Adam, what has the coolest art this year?
All of these are really cool looking games. You know, that's one thing I can say is I've at least looked at pictures and video of all of these games.
There you go.
But the only two I've played extensively are, of course, Clair Obscur and Hades 2. And as much as I like Hades 2, I find it hard to believe that Clair Obscur won't win this. I just think it was, I think it has the bonus of being an all original property, a new property. So that's going to give it a little bit of an edge over Hades 2, I think. I just think those are things that the people who vote on this care about. But it's also just a great looking game and very stylized. And it's one of those things that, like, if graphics continue to improve for another 20 years, it won't matter. This game is going to continue to look great. So I was really impressed with the character designs, especially. It was one of the few games I've ever played where I was like, I want to get the outfits of the character because they look so damn cool. So, I really think Clair Obscur will take this one home.
I'm with you. I think Clair Obscur, this is an easy win. I think it's got a lot of these categories. That there's a good chance that it wins a lot of these, but I think this one's pretty much a lock. I think there's some arguments to be made for like Death Stranding 2 because of all of its like weirdness. It does so, and it looks gorgeous. I don't know if that's necessarily its direction, but like those character models in Death Stranding 2 are almost flawless. Like they look human. It's like kind of insane how good they look, but that's not necessarily a direction thing. I think Clair Obscur has a very cohesive vision with what it's going for. It's kind of has this like painterly style, especially in the open world map. Like there's this that there, it's not going for hyper realism, and I think that's something that works to its advantage. But it still looks really good. Like it doesn't look like animated or something like Hades 2. That's very. The art's very static. It's all the character portraits and stuff are just like here's a model and like a 2D image, and then we like kind of change his pose every now and then. So I think that might hurt Hades 2 a little bit. All these games look really good. I think Clair Obscur is the easy winner. Hades 2 could pull out an upset, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Hades 2 has a shot in the dark, but I would be very surprised if Activision 33 didn't run away with this one.
Yeah. Our next category is Best Role-Playing Game. The nominees for that are Avowed, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2. And I'm just so happy to see Avowed get nominated for something.
Yes. That was a lot of fun. I did not get super far, probably like 20-ish hours, but it was a lot of fun. And the melee in that game is truly great for a first-person game.
I was on the last act of Avowed. I never finished it, but I was really close to completing it. I was probably like 2 or 3 hours away, or 3 or 4 hours away. But there was just like so much side content by the end that I got overwhelmed, and I just kind of put it down for a while and never went back to it. But I really liked my time with Avowed, and I thought it did a lot of cool stuff in that like Elder Scrolls vein, but just felt so much better than those games.
Yeah.
I really liked. I was running around with like a sword and a spell book in one hand. I'm just like slashing people, casting fireballs, and like it was so cool. I really like to see that nominated. It's not gonna win, but it's cool that it at least got some recognition here.
It had the voice actor for Garrus, so that's like an A+ in my book.
Wow, yeah. What I forgot about that. What a win.
It is great that it's nominated. I'm just like a huge Obsidian fan. I still need to get around to playing Pentiment because everyone's like, it's the weirdest game you'll ever play, but it's amazing. I'm like, all right, I got it.
It's so strange. I didn't play much of it, but it is very, very odd.
And that was apparently Josh Sawyer's just like side project that he just like worked on for like 3 or 4 years or something alongside all these, because they've been pumping games out relative to a lot to other studios.
They have two nominees in this category. The Outer Worlds 2 is also Obsidian.
So I think it's great they're getting the recognition. It is unfortunate it's in the category that I think Expedition 33 is again just going to dominate. But you never know. Kingdom Come Deliverance, neither of us have played it, but it's been getting a lot of buzz lately. So possible dark horse candidate there.
Clair Obscur is everybody's like heavy favorite for Game of the Year. So there's a chance that Kingdom Come could slip in and take RPG from it. Like, we want to throw it a bone. That never actually happens. Like, I think we say that every year. It's like, maybe this one will slip under the radar. And, it never does. This is Clair Obscur, I think, pretty easily. like I said, I didn't play Kingdom Come Deliverance, so who knows? It could eke out a win there.
It does bring up an interesting thought. Just like, when the people vote for it, do you think they're ever thinking along those lines of like, well, I already put this at Game of the Year? I personally would not want them to. Like, I want everyone to look at every one of these categories like completely separate. But obviously, like, you can't take your bias from what you just filled out 5 seconds ago away from what
Right.
from your next vote. So I do wonder how people feel about that as they're voting for these. Maybe we'll be popular enough one day to find out, Austin.
That would be awesome. That would be so cool. I think I would treat it more like I just said, of like, I would want to spread some of the love out a little bit. And that's only just because like it could be kind of boring, as much as I love Expedition 33, to see it win, 12 different awards. Like, I'd love to see some other things get recognized, but I think you're right. Like, it's like Clair Obscur is the best role-playing game. It should win best role-playing game. So I think it's a hard thing to know for sure what to do with.
It kind of reminds me of what people used to say about the NFL Coach of the Year for like 20 years. It was like, it should just be Bill Belichick every year, but you can't do that. So we're going to find someone else to give it to. Our next category here, Best Action Game. We've got Battlefield 6, Doom, The Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi, The Art of Vengeance. This is the first time I'm finding out there's a new Shinobi game, and that's cool. I might have to go check that out, but I've only played Doom and Hades 2 on this list.
I have played a little bit of Ninja Gaiden 4. I also played Doom and Hades 2. I did play a little bit of Ninja Gaiden 4, and I haven't played a ton of it yet, but it's really fun. Like, it's Platinum meets Team Ninja. Like, Platinum worked on it, and so it has that kind of stylish, like, fast-paced action, but with some of the difficulty of Ninja Gaiden. And I really liked the little bit that I played of it. And I saw some list. I was looking at like top games of the year, and somebody had Ninja Gaiden 4 as their number 1 game of the year. And I was like, whoa, that's insane.
Did one of those two teams do the one Devil May Cry game that I liked?
Yeah, yes, I believe. I don't remember, actually. It might have been Team Ninja that did that, but I can't.
I mix up a lot of those guys, but I'm gonna have to check out Ninja Gaiden 4 because I did play. Like, was it back in like the Xbox era? Those games were big, the 3D ones.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. The only thing I really have to say here is that like Dark Ages underwhelmed me, but if people liked it, I hope it wins. Whatever. I think this is gonna be Hades 2 though.
Yeah. To me, this is Hades 2's to lose. Like, I can't imagine Hades 2 not winning this. I don't think it's going to win some of the other, like, bigger, quote, categories. So I think this one, it's got pretty much a lock on. Hades 2 is really good. It's just more Hades, which is a good thing. So, yeah, I think this is Hades 2. I think Dark Ages could sneak under the radar, maybe. But I think a lot of people were also kind of underwhelmed with Dark Ages compared to 2016. So,
well, moving on to a very different category, Best Action Adventure Game.
I was gonna say, it's so weird, like what qualifies as action adventure.
Oh yeah, and I guess like it's almost just seems to be a category for what wasn't in the other ones.
Kind of. It's like a catch-all almost.
Yeah, so we have, our nominees are Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, Hollow Knight Silksong, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Split Fiction. And it's almost just another one like with the Sims strategy where it's like Indiana Jones and Hollow Knight in the same, that's like a tough comparison.
Right, it's really strange, and like I think this is missing Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like Bonanza not being in here is bananas. Pun definitely 100% intended.
Yeah, did I just leave it off the list here, or did it not get nominated?
It didn't get nominated. It's not. It's not nominated, and it's very interesting that like this is also the platformer category, and I guess there's just not enough quality platformers out there, but It seems weird to me that Ghost of Yote feels like it could also belong in Best Action Game. So I don't know. It's a weird category. I do love seeing Indiana Jones get nominated here, though. I know it came out last year but missed the deadline, so it got thrown a bone here, and I love to see it. And I almost want to see it win. Like, I love Split Fiction, and I think that's probably like my personal favorite of these games. But I think it'd be really cool to see Indiana Jones get praise, because it's like the best Indiana Jones property made in a long, long time.
Definitely better than the last couple of movies I've heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you play it?
Yeah, I played it, and
Okay.
I beat it. It's a lot of fun. It's I haven't actually seen a lot of the Indiana Jones movies, but I feel like this captures the spirit of what I have seen very, very well. And I think Troy Baker does a phenomenal job as Indiana Jones. And I think there's just a lot of really cool like puzzle gameplay mixed with the action stuff that you would expect. And yeah, this is a cool game to me. I wish it would get picked. I don't think it will. But I'm pulling for it.
Yeah, my default pick is Split Fiction because that's the only one of these I played. I do just have this like feeling this is going to be the one that Silksong walks away with, Hollow Knight. But I guess we'll see.
I'd agree with that. It had to fit into a category somewhere, and I think this is probably Silksong's to win just because it's not going to win most of the other things, I think. So I think this will be a pretty solid win for Silksong.
Yeah, I think it's whenever you have a game that was that hyped and then it came out and it was received well, it's sort of hard to put it over things that maybe didn't have as much hype or weren't received as well. Even though, I mean, Death Stranding 2 probably fits that category. Split Fiction probably fits that category. But I think the anticipation of Hollow Knight was sort of unlike a lot of things we've seen.
For sure. I think this is a pretty stacked category, partially because, it's a catch-all category and it just throws a bunch of things in there. Uh-huh. But it's pretty stacked. Like any one of these games I feel like could win it, except for like maybe Ghost of Yotei, because it's just a little bit too much like Ghost of Tsushima from what I've heard. I haven't played it. So, but I feel like it falls a little bit too into that like this is the same thing as Tsushima but just a little bit more. And it's like, well, maybe we're not going to reward that.
It's got that Miles Morales DNA.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on now to Best Multiplayer. Our nominees are Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction. This is another category that's a little silly to me because by definition, yeah, absolutely, more than one person plays all of these. That's about where it stops.
Yeah. This is a really interesting one to me because like Split Fiction is not like Split Fiction feels like the odd one out here, right? Like
yeah. I mean even Peak does a little bit, but Split Fiction particularly feels like nothing to do with the rest of these games, yeah.
Right, like Split Fiction is just a co-op game that you play like with one other person for the whole thing. But like it's probably the most fun multiplayer I've had this year. So I guess by default, it would be my pick. I don't think it will win, but it would be like by default my pick probably.
I find it interesting that Arc Raiders made the cut because I kind of thought it was released too late to make the cut on anything. But maybe there just wasn't enough big multiplayer titles otherwise. I mean, we only have 5 here instead of 6, and one of them is a couch co-op. So I'm gonna think there just wasn't enough multiplayer big names to stick in here. I do hope Arc Raiders wins. I've had so much fun with that, and I haven't even played it nearly as much as I've been wanting to. I've had other things going on, but my friend Chris, who our listeners might remember as the bachelor party champion from the live episode.
That is true. What a callback. Love it.
Me and Chris have been playing some. He's been playing the shit out of this game, but I'll join him from some runs every once in a while. And there's just such a cool feeling because Escape from Tarkov was a game that I played a couple years ago with him, and we both really liked it, but there were just so many rough edges and so many just like, I would just call it like unfriendly mechanics and just too punishing. And it's like the feeling of tension was always wiped away by feelings of frustration. I think Arc Raiders has done a great job balancing a lot of that. I'm hearing from him there's definitely like a couple things when you get toward the end game that feel a little unbalanced and they need to kind of figure out how to curb certain player habits right now. But for the most part, I've just had such a fucking blast with this because the proximity chat is like such a big part of it. And it's just there's so much tension when you're in a building and you hear someone like rummaging around in the next room. And like, I'm on voice chat with Connor and I'm like, should we like tell him we're here? Or should we run? Should we get the jump on him? Like, what's the move? And so I just hop on prox chat and I'm like, hey, friendly in the next room. Like, are you guys friendly? And then they don't respond. I'm like, fuck, run.
Like, no, we're not. They're not friendly. Go.
Or this guy will be like, yeah, man, we're friendly. Like, thank God. I've been having a hard time finding friendlies lately. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a guy who's not going to shoot me in the back. He might, but, and just, I love that aspect of it. And the PvE sections, like all the robots are just, it's like they're interesting enough to sort of like accomplish the purpose of what they're there for, like give you something besides just the players to interact with, give you something to keep an eye on. But they're ultimately not interesting enough to exist, I think, without other players. You would simply very easily learn how to avoid them, and you would never take any risks because there would be no reason to take risks. Whereas now it's like, shit, I know there's some robots around the corner here, but I've been hearing this gunfire get slowly closer and closer behind us. I think we're going to take our chance and just like sprint through where the robots are and hope we don't get found. And, this extraction point is closing in 6.5 minutes. Like, it's just all these factors that come into play to just make it a very tense, but not frustrating, like multiplayer shooter. And, that's a feeling I've been looking for a multiplayer shooter my entire life. So I've been enjoying this one.
I'm going to have to check this one out. You keep talking about it, and it keeps sounding cooler and cooler every time you talk about it. So I need to just like buckle down and buy it. I'm trying to save money for a vacation soon, but after that, I'm gonna rock some Arc Raiders for sure. I do think this one is probably going to go to Elden Ring Night Rain, unfortunately, because if you remember our like little mini review from a few episodes ago, we hated that game, but. I do think it's the only thing FromSoft to nominate it at all anywhere, I believe. So like,
yeah,
it feels like it might win just on that alone. Like, yeah, we need to throw FromSoft a bone because we love them. But I could also see Arc Raiders taking it just because of how much it's been like in the news lately and how much people are talking about it right now, and it could have some of that recency bias.
Yeah, and I had a pretty good time with Peak and Split Fiction this year as well, but I would be surprised if anything, but something with the Elden Ring name.
Yeah.
That game would have had to have flopped hard, I think, not to win this category. And most of the people who played it seem to have liked it. We might have been the only three to refund it within 40 minutes of godforsaken.
Yeah, it's I also wanted to point out, like, while we were talking about Arc Raiders, this being the only thing it was nominated for is kind of interesting. Like, like you had said, you thought it maybe come in too late under the deadline, but like, no, it just didn't get any other nominations. And I wonder if that's just because it didn't have enough time. Like, if people just didn't have enough time to like really digest it and know what to put it in. And they're like, it's definitely a multiplayer game, so we can put it there.
I will say this. I've also come to find out that there's like a surprising contingent of people who just like hate you if you want to play with other people. It's so weird. Like they keep talking about how like this game needs a PvE mode because PvP players are ruining it. And it's like, dude, the developers literally said they started the game that way and that it was so fucking uninteresting that they pivoted halfway through to like put other players in it, right? Because as I was saying, just with the robots, there's just nothing interesting going on there. They apparently are using some sort of like LLM technology to make the robots kind of learn from player behavior and behave in certain ways. I don't know the extent of that, but in my experience, it's still not enough to make this game interesting without other people in it. But my point there is that I think maybe some of the people who vote for these nominations are in that camp, and they're basically just like a multiplayer shooter that doesn't cater to like my sensibilities. No. So that could be part of it. But I ultimately think it's just it came out too late.
Our next category is Best Debut Indie Game. The nominees for this one are Blueprints, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Despolate, Dispatch, and Megabonk. I've only played 2 of these.
I love the name Megabonk. I have to go figure out what this is after this.
Megabonk is great. I think it's like a Vampire Survivors clone, maybe. I think I've heard that. I've played 3 of these, and I think this one and Best Indie Game are going to be very contentious because of Clair Obscur's inclusion in them.
It's funny, man. I feel like we have this conversation every year, right? Last year it was Dave the Diver. It's a weird thing. Part of me feels like they just really need to nail down like specific requirements for this, and then another part of me feels like they just need to get rid of it, because it's like, a lot of people say, well, it's easy. It's just if they have a publisher or not. It's like, okay, but that's clearly not that easy because self-published technically includes Nintendo, and well, that's not going to work.
Right.
Not to mention, a lot of these guys will team up with what people call indie publishers, which is just a whole other can of worms in itself, to release their game, right? So the old traditional definitions don't really work. And then you can kind of say, well, it's like the spirit of a small studio or whatever. It's like, well, the whole thing when Clear Obscure Expedition 33 came out is that it was a small studio of like 30 people who made this amazing game. And now it's not fair. There were hundreds of people and contractors and stuff. So people just kind of say whatever the hell they want to make their game qualify or not. And that's why I think like we may have outgrown the indie game category, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I agree. I think it's just time to get rid of it. I don't think you'll ever find the right set of parameters to make everybody happy if you try and like nail it down. There's probably a lot of ways that you could split up other categories into making it more indie friendly, like best 2D platformer. Like a lot of those end up being indie games anyway, or just best platformer in general. Like doing things like that could help separate, like it could put Hollow Knight in its own thing, and a lot of the best indie games are getting nominated for Game of the Year at this point anyway. So it's like, does best independent game really matter anymore? I don't know. I do like best debut indie as like a concept because it's like, here's a new studio and a new game and like a fresh idea. But you could also just call that like best new game or something, or like best debut game. Like it doesn't necessarily be an indie game.
Best studio debut. I think that would be a great category, honestly. Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be just an indie studio. It could be a big like AAA studio if they put out a brand new cool game. But I imagine most of the time it would come under debut indie anyway. Like it's a weird category. I think Claire Obscure is going to win it, and like, yeah, it probably deserves it, but I really want it to be Dispatch.
You have been praising Dispatch a lot, and for that reason, I hope it wins as well, just because we already know that E33 is going to take a few other ones of these. So it would be cool, like you said, see the love spread around. But if the voters were thinking that this counts as like an indie game, then I have a feeling it might take this category and the other independent game category.
I agree. I think Blueprints could be like a dark horse here because people loved that game when it came out. I think it's pretty niche, but like the people
it got overshadowed by Clear Obscure a little bit too, right? It was like right around the same time.
Yeah, they did both kind of come out around the same time, and then Clear Obscure was like, from the heavens. So yeah, I think this will be Clair Obscure for sure. I want it to be Dispatch because I really love Dispatch. If you don't know what Dispatch is, like, it's basically just a superhero TV show. Like if you've seen Invincible, it's like a similar animation style to Invincible, but it's done with like almost like a strategy simulation thing. This would have been a good nominee for strategy simulation. Because you have to kind of dispatch heroes out, and you like sit at a desk and you have this team of heroes that work under you, and they're all like reformed villains essentially, and you have to tell them where to go and like which calls to respond to, and you're looking at their stats to determine if they're a good pick. So it's like, if this call from this person is like, we need a hero here to help break up a fight, you want to pick somebody who's like sturdy and tough and like has good fighting stats. Or if it's like, we need to investigate this bomb threat, you want to pick somebody who's smart or charismatic if you need to like, talk down a person from jumping off of a roof or whatever. I don't think that's one of them, but stuff along those lines. Like, you need to pick out your best hero. Yes, exactly. And there is a big, like, it's by former Telltale developers. So there's a big narrative choice component, and you're forming relationships with your teammates and stuff. So it's really cool. It's really unique. The animation is awesome. Like, it feels like a modern day Telltale game that isn't bogged down by a lot of the gameplay things that kind of made Telltale games a slog sometimes. Like you just have the narrative bits and like its own unique little gameplay mechanic that doesn't feel like walking around like a 3D environment with like kind of mediocre textures and mediocre interactivity. So yeah, I really love Dispatch. I hope it wins this.
So based on what I've read and talking to you, I can't quite get a feel for like, is it mostly a visual novel with a little mini game on the side, or is that game, is it like a 50-50 thing with that mechanic?
I'd say maybe like 60-40, like 60% visual novel, 40% mechanic. Because it is like you do have that mechanic at least once in every episode, sometimes 2 or 3 times per episode. You have the little like mini game. But and even within the mini game, there's like a fair bit of variety because you also do like little hacking mini games that all function a little bit differently. So there's like little ways that they kind of spice up the gameplay even within that mini game. But I would say the main focus is on the visual novel element, but you do get to play that mini game in every episode, and it's like 8 episodes long.
This is another one that's interesting to me as far as the indie definition, because what a lot of people want to focus on, is it's like a small team, and it's a team that didn't get the benefit of like big resources or a big name behind it. And as far as the development of this game goes, that sounds right. But then you also have like some of the biggest voice actors ever in it, so that sort of feels like a not very indie thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very true. I mean, Aaron Paul is in this game, like the Breaking Bad guy. So yeah, it doesn't feel super indie, and I mean, that's part of I think what we're talking about is how weird some of these categories are, including right. I mean, the next category, best independent game, the nominees for that are Absalom, Ball X Pit, Blueprints, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong.
There's another one where I just assume Clair Obscur is going to run away with it. But let me tell you about Ball X Pit.
Let's go!
Which I think is probably like my runner-up for Game of the Year. This game is so much fun. It is like a brick breaker meets a city builder meets a roguelike. It's just, one of those games that has a bunch of different things going on. But every second of it is so much fun. The way you unlock new characters and they just do the craziest things. It's like every time I unlock a new one, I'm like, whoa, whatever the next thing they're going to think of can't quite possibly be as crazy as like you only have baby balls, which, I haven't talked about this game out loud in this one yet. That sounds funny.
I would say that's a weird sentence, but
But I unlocked the guy last night where it's like the balls just come from the back of the arena instead of out of your character.
That one's tricky.
That one's crazy. I would have never thought of that. And then there's one where it's just like your upgrades are picked for you because it's like a roguelike and the computer just picks it for you. I'm like, all right, that's insane. But it's just little creative things like that keep every character a little different. Getting to build up the town to me is a lot of fun. I mean, I sit there for like, you would not be surprised to hear this the amount of time I spend planning out the fucking layout of my town.
I'm not shocked at all.
So that because you shoot all your little characters and they bounce like a brick breaker thing around this little city for what you get like 10, 12 seconds. That number will keep going up as you build more buildings. But the idea is like when you upgrade or build buildings, you have to bounce into them a few times to like construct them. And so I'm always planning it out like perfectly into where I still get some of the resources harvested that turn and I have everything God, dude, this game just scratches so many itches for me and I have had so much fun with it.
Dude, Ball X Pit is so good. It is definitely, it kind of came out of nowhere for me because I saw it in the Steam Next Fest and was like, this is weird. I want to try this out. And I was like, holy crap, this is the coolest thing ever. That like city builder element you were talking about is so interesting as you get more and more buildings. Cause like certain buildings will give benefits to other buildings. So you need to like build those around the building that'll give benefits to all the other ones. But then like, one of the benefits that you want to, or like one of the buildings that you want to put around to get that one benefit might also give benefits to something else. So you're like, oh, what do I prioritize? How do I strategize this building? And as you get more and more buildings, like if you get rid of a building, you might lose the character that building is a part of. So it's like, well, now I need to make sure I have enough money to like open up and expand my space so that I can move that building somewhere else. And like, it's just so much like thinking through all of that stuff. And I love Ball X Pit. I beat the game like a few weeks ago. And like to officially beat it, you have to beat all the levels. And like the last level you have to beat with, I think, 8 characters to get the like game over screen or like the credit screen, like the official ending. And it was really tough to figure out which 8 characters I was going to be able to beat the end with, because some of them are just so weird and like hard to figure out. And then there's like one at the end that just plays the game for you, essentially. So it's
really?
Like, so you have to like figure out who to pair him up with to get the right advantages so that they'll succeed. It's like very difficult though. Like I've not been able to figure out how to pair him up with like which other bonus character, because you could get that building that like lets you bring 2 characters in at one time. I don't know if you've gotten that one yet.
I've not gotten that far. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you get a building that lets you bring 2 characters in at once. I think it's called like Matchmaker or something like that, or like the something like that. And you get both of their abilities. So you have to figure out which ability to bring, or like which other character to bring in to match that ability. So it's really just so much creative stuff going on with Ball X Pit. I want this to win. It's going to be Clair Obscur.
Right.
If it's not Clair Obscur, it's probably Silk Song or Hades 2. But like, or even Blueprints. Like Ball X Pit is like way down at the bottom.
It's unfortunately probably everything else on this list before Ball X Pit.
Right. Like maybe Ball X Pit would be over Absalom, maybe.
Yeah. Was that the like stylized beat 'em up roguelike we played for the Steam Next Fest?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. That one was pretty fun. We have not picked it up like with its full release, but that was a pretty fun one.
That was a fun one, and I'm not upset to see it in this list, but like I wish Ball X Pit could win this. It will not. Clair Obscur like deserves to win technically. It's the best game on the list. But man, Ball X Pit is so cool. I had to talk about Ball X Pit.
Yeah, look, forget this entire category. This segment is just a advertisement for Ball X Pit. It's like an unpaid endorsement for...
It really is. Go play Ball X Pit. Like, it's going to be Clair Obscur, but play Ball X Pit anyway.
Let's move on now to, I guess, another category that Clair Obscur might take, and then that's Best Score in Music. And our nominees are Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Mr. Lorien Testar, Hades 2, Darren Korb, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Christopher Larkin, Death Stranding 2, Woodkid and Ludwig Forsell, Ghost of Yotai, Toma Atoa, and then for some reason on the website I got this from, for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it did not tell me the composer's name, so whoever that is.
Shout out that guy.
Yeah, shout out that guy. This is another one I just assume Clair Obscur is going to take. I don't know enough about the music for most of these games. I mean, Hades 2 music's awesome. The Hades music's great. There's no doubt about that. But I think Clair Obscur was just on another level with its... I mean, brother, I went back to relearn French so I could sing along. Like, there's just nothing like this soundtrack.
Yeah, Clair Obscur is the easy win here. I mean, nothing else even has a shot, I don't think. It's my obvious pick. It's the obvious pick. The music is so cool. I can't wait to hear this performed by the Game Awards Orchestra, like where they do their thing before the Game of the Year. Like when they announce all the nominees, they do their big, orchestra piece. I cannot wait to hear them play music from this game. It's so good. Like there's just nothing else. In any other year, I feel like at least 3 of these games could have competed, but it's clearly Clair Obscur. I'm a little disappointed to not see Mario Kart be nominated here, because I thought the Mario Kart soundtrack was really good, and Nintendo always puts up really good music. So I would have maybe taken that over like Ghost of Yotai or Kingdom Come, even though I didn't play other of those games. So like, I don't know their soundtracks, but personally, I would have maybe taken Mario Kart over like Kingdom Come or Ghost of Yotai. But, you win some, you lose some.
If you want to know what every song in Ghost of Yotai sounds like, just go listen to our Okami review, and I think I do a pretty good impression there. No, so the Mario Kart thing's interesting. So today, when the nominees are announced, I do what I always do. I'm going reading all these forum posts and stuff, and people keep saying, Oh, Mario's not on there because Spotify sponsors the segment, and Nintendo doesn't put its music on Spotify, so it doesn't. It's not like it doesn't meet the requirements. And I was like, that sounds crazy. That sounds like a thing someone just fucking made up on the internet. And sure enough, as far as I can tell, that's something someone just fucking made up on the internet. I cannot find that anywhere. But I have seen a lot of people have a very similar sentiment to you, where it's just like, it's a really awesome soundtrack. Isn't it a lot like Rebirth, in that they took a lot of songs that existed but just made them completely new arrangements?
Yes, yeah, that is definitely the case. They do a lot of like, it sounds almost like road trippy because it's world tour. So like it has almost like Americana sounds. There's like harmonicas and stuff in a lot of songs. Like they just do some like interesting things with Mario arrangements to make it feel like it fits the tone of this game. And I wish it would have been celebrated here because it is really cool. There's a lot of really great arrangements that they do in that game.
Yeah, and I saw some people saying that maybe that was why it didn't make the list. But then Rebirth won it with like the same thing going on.
Right.
So I feel like that can't be it.
In another year, I also could have seen like Death Stranding 2 potentially take this because it does some really cool stuff with its licensed tracks. Like there's a lot of like Church's music and like Caroline Polachek. They do a really cool thing with Singing in the Rain. That like they use that really well in the game. Like they do a lot of really cool stuff with the whole premise behind Death Stranding is obviously this sort of delivery and like you're crossing it's Australia in Death Stranding 2, but like you're crossing all of Australia on foot, carrying packages or like riding in weird cars, and having the music kind of in the background as you're doing that and you being able to manipulate it and stuff, it really enhances the traveling mechanics and really sets the tone for the game. So in another year, I could see that having some weight, but I just think Clair Obscur is so far and away the clear favorite, especially being that Lorient to Start was like pulled off of SoundCloud or whatever. Like, dude just has no real composer credits and pulled out this like banger of a soundtrack.
Yeah.
There's no way they don't reward that.
I'm with you. I also just, like, as you were saying, might be the most appropriate to play with an orchestra too. So it's got that going for it.
Yeah.
Our next category here is best performance. And, you know the pattern by now, folks. This is E33s again. So we have Jennifer English of E33, the character Mael. Ben Starr of Expedition 33, the character Verso. Charlie Cox of Expedition 33, the character Gustav. Erika Ishii of Ghost of Yote, character Atsu. Troy Baker of Indiana Jones, the character Indiana Jones. And Kanatsu Katu of Silent Hill F, the character Hinako Shimizu. I know people were saying that it's pretty cool that this Katu person was nominated because we typically don't get a lot of non-Western voice actors nominated here. So that's definitely pretty cool.
That is really awesome for her. And I'm assuming it's a her. I'm assuming it's the main character who I think is female.
Yeah, no, I'm making the same assumptions as you are.
Yeah, I hope so. As much as I think I agree with probably this whole list, like this is probably a pretty perfect nominations list, I'm super disappointed that nothing in Dispatch is here since it's clearly eligible. Like Aaron Paul or Laura Bailey or Jeffrey Wright probably should have gotten a nomination here, but it's okay. It's also kind of surprising that there's no Death Stranding 2 nominations, considering like Norman Reedus is in that game. I feel like in any other year that didn't have Expedition 33, some of these things would have gotten nominated. But E33 had to take literally half the nominations. So,
spoiler for Expedition 33, if you care about that at this point,
and you should. If you haven't played it, you should care about spoilers. Go play it.
Absolutely. If you haven't played it yet, just stop this episode and go play it and then listen to our Expedition 33 episode. But I was reading that Charlie Cox said that he basically did all of his voice lines in one afternoon because, his character dies 6 hours into the game. And I thought and don't get me wrong, he is fantastic for the time that he's there. And his character does so much to set a tone that is in sort of like inverted. And then his like the legacy of his character still means so much to these other characters. So it's not that his character isn't important. I just find it very interesting that a guy who has significantly less voice lines than probably anyone else on this list gets the nomination, especially because a lot of people were saying they're surprised Andy Serkis didn't get a nod because the character Renoir in the same game is really good. But at some point you do have to, draw a line. And I'm surprised that line included 3 people from one game. But it really was. I talked about it in our review of that game. Like, I typically just find voice acting in games like just not even worth the money they put in fucking recording the lines. And this game is just, the voice acting is so good, dude. And it pairs well with the animations and the facial expressions and the mocap. So everything just looks like it's like an Oscar or Grammy, whatever one it is. Oscar, right? Worthy performance. I think it'll end up being one of the E33 people. I'm not sure who. I would have to assume either between Ben Starr or Charlie Cox. But I don't know. I don't know that. It could be Jennifer English. It could be any one of these 3.
Literally, they're all so good. I think if I had to pick my guess, it's probably going to be Ben Starr because I think he has to do the most. Like, he has so many emotions that he has to portray, and he has so many like things that he has to balance as the character of Verso throughout the game that I think he shows a lot of depth here that, I think my personal pick, though, I just love what Charlie Cox does with Gustav. Mm-hmm. Like, that fuck the mission scene, dude. Like, man, dude, it's so good. Like, just the depths that Charlie can go for such a, like he could have phoned this in so easily. Like, big name actor gets asked to do a video game. He could have gone into the booth and just kind of half-assed it and put his name on it and been like, I'm done. But he put so much emotion into it, and you can tell he really cares. And like, yeah, he's not in it for a ton of the game, obviously, but it's so interesting to hear him talk about it because he's like, yeah, I don't really play video games. Like, they asked me to do this thing, and I went and I did it, and like, whatever. But like, he kills it, and it's just crazy to me. Like, yeah, for me, I think I would personally like to see Charlie Cox get it, but all 3 of them deserve it for sure.
Yeah, I do want to shout out to Erika Ishii. So I know I've talked to you about Dropout, that like streaming service.
Yes.
Okay, so she is one of the comedians that appears on a lot of those shows. And so I've been following her for a few years. She's really funny. Me and my wife really like her. I don't think she's going to win this category. And I don't even know that I'm going to play Ghost of Yota. But that is just really cool to see as someone that, like, to me was that like dork on this game show. And now, and she's always been doing voice acting. But I mean, now to hit like this level of recognition is just really cool.
It is awesome. When I first saw that she was cast as that role, I was like, oh, what? That's awesome. Like, and also, like, shout out to Troy Baker, too. I mean, I know he's nominated, like, every year for something.
Right, yeah.
But he does absolutely kill it as Indiana Jones. I mean, he sounds exactly like Harrison Ford, but without that, like, uncanny, you're just doing an impression thing. Like, he really makes the character his own. But you feel like he's Indiana. Like, it's you feel like he's Indy. And he really does nail it. And I'm glad they threw him this nomination. I think in this year with the E33 cast and how much it was praised and celebrated, I don't think he's going to get the win. But, I mean, Troy Baker's a big name. Indiana Jones is a big character. Like, it could be an upset potentially. I think if any category we're going to have like a huge upset over E33, this is one of them that I think Troy Baker could do it.
I mix these 2 up every time. This is not Nathan Drake. It is Joel, correct?
Yes, correct.
You
got it.
Okay. It is not a character's dad on Pretty Little Liars for 7 seasons. That's Nolan North. All right.
Yes, correct. Got it. They are often confused. You are not alone.
Because they play, at least like I think early in their careers, they played very similar kind of characters and they were in everything. So I just got them mixed up.
Yes, yeah.
Moving on to Best Narrative, which we're not done yet. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, rounding out the top of the nominees. And coming in, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Silent Hill F. All games that have already been in other categories. I again, haven't played these other games, so I can't say with any real authority, but I just can't imagine it not being Clair Obscur, because what a great time it was experiencing like the story of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Clair Obscur, right? Like, in any other year, right? I feel like I keep saying that. In any other year, I could see like Death Stranding 2 taking it for kind of its weirdness and like its Kojima-ness. But in a year with Clair Obscur, like that narrative is so good, especially the big Act 1 twist and the big Act 2 reveals. Like those moments catapulted into just something really special.
Mm-hmm. And to me, the only weak part of the game is kind of the third act, and it has nothing to do with the narrative. So it's
right.
So I think this one is I think I'm about as sure as anything else on this list that this one is going to be E33.
I know some people really talk highly about Silent Hill F's narrative. I just think that one's probably a little too niche. Like it's going to be a little too under the radar. I don't know if enough people have even played it to know if it would be the best narrative. Like, I'm glad it got a nomination here based on what people have said about it. Like, I've seen some people say that they really want it to win even over Clair Obscur, and they love Clair Obscur. So like maybe that has a long shot, but I just feel like Clair Obscur is so obviously the pick here.
Moving on to our next Clair Obscur victory. I mean, our next category, dude, it's in everything. So we have
really
best game direction, which we have Clair Obscur, we have Death Stranding 2, we have Ghost of Yotai, we have Hades 2, and we have Split Fiction. Now, we're talking about the difference between some of these categories, and I think best game direction versus like game of the year was like specifically something interesting or innovative done within the game that took like a visionary director or set of directors, right? And so that's why I think that despite the fact that like Clair Obscur has all of the name value here, I think Split Fiction has a real chance because I don't think it's going to win anything else. And I think that they want to, like the people who vote on these things will be like, yeah, we kind of do want to put just some of the crazy shit that happened in this game to the forefront. Like those last couple levels were crazy. Truly unlike anything I'd played before.
That like last level of Split Fiction is some of the coolest stuff I've ever done in a video game ever. Like it is so awesome. I would love to see Split Fiction take this one. Clair Obscur has, the momentum on this one. It's going to win everything else. So maybe it will win anyway just on that. And a lot of times like best game direction ends up being game of the year too. So could be Clair Obscur for both, but I hope Split Fiction wins this. I could see Death Stranding 2 making a bit of an upset because I don't think it's going to win much else, and Kojima. So if anybody does weird, crazy, visionary shit, it's Kojima. Yeah, not always to the betterment of the game, but
literally never. No, I'll edit that out. I can see Death Stranding too, especially because when we talk about best game direction and you're like, well, who's the director? And it's this guy. Like, he's very well known. He's very well regarded. I can't even think of anyone. The only other person I can think that even kind of has kind of like the same control over the game would be like David Cage, and he's not nearly as well like regarded.
No, people hate Cage.
Yeah. So like I think just for that reason alone, he's sort of like one of the few remaining like auteur style directors in the industry left. This sort of seems like the Kojima award in a way. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope it's Split Fiction because I think it should be celebrated. I think it will be Clair Obscur. Could be Death Stranding.
And now the final category, the one we've all been waiting for. The game of the year. Unsurprisingly, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33.
Who would have guessed?
Hades 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I am just now realizing it's spelled like banana. Bonanza, not bonanza. That's good. I like that. Hollow Knight Silk Song, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach. Wait, that's the subtitle?
Yes.
That just sounds like it should be a Dead or Alive volleyball game. But and then Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think it's another one where it's like Clair Obscur is to lose, but there are some really great, well-regarded games on here. Chris, who I was talking about earlier, loves Silk Song, played the shit out of it, says it's his game of the year. I know it was really well hyped. People have been raving about Kingdom Come the last 2 months. There are some other games with like an outside shot, but this would just be one. I would just be shocked if it's not Expedition 33.
I just can't imagine a world where Expedition 33 doesn't win this. There was a chance, I think, before I saw the nominations where I was like, okay, maybe people kind of forgot about it. It came out a long time ago. Like maybe some of the hype's died down. Maybe it won't get all the praise that we all think it deserves. And then I saw that it had 12 nominations, which makes it the most nominated game in the history of the Game Awards. And I'm like, okay, there's no way this game isn't going to win.
And I was worried that it released too early in the year. It doesn't seem to have impacted it at all.
It does not appear to have at all. I mean, it has run away with nominations, and it's just hard for me to believe that it will not take the win with ease. But like you said, I think there are a lot of great games here. I really loved Bonanza. Great name, great game. The final level of that is also really cool. I don't know if you got far enough into Odyssey to go to like New Donk City
No.
and like see the like New York version, like Mario's New York.
Wait, so that's not the big Metropolis level? There's like a different one, or
no? That is the big Metropolis level. It's called New Donk City.
Oh, I had no idea it was called New Donk City, but
yeah, New Donk City, like Donkey Kong, right? New Donk City. Yeah. So the last level of Bonanza is like you essentially almost like founding New Donk City, kind of. So it's like kind of tied into that universe, and not quite as cool as the last level of Split Fiction, which I think is like one of the coolest gaming experiences ever. But the final level of Bonanza is also very cool. And just so much of that game is really cool because it's like you've described what you've heard of it as like Red Faction meets Mario.
Yeah, is it Donkey Kong Gorilla or Donkey Kong Faction, whatever you want to call it.
Right. And it's very true. I mean, you can literally destroy everything. You are just constantly like punching walls, digging into the ground, like doing all kinds of crazy shenanigans with digging. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really awesome. It's kind of surprising that it got a Game of the Year nomination when it was nominated for nothing else besides, I think, Best Family Game, which we didn't even talk about. But
yeah, sorry, I called a few of the categories that I don't care about, and I hope that doesn't bother anyone because some of them are like best accessibility, but I just don't know how to talk about some of those.
No, I think it's fair. We highlighted. I mean, this has already gone long. We've highlighted the ones that I think are important for us, for our interest. So. But I just find that interesting. I do wish that Split Fiction would have been in here. I probably personally would have put it over Kingdom Come, but that's only because I haven't played Kingdom Come. I'm sure it deserves it. I'm not here to hate on it. I really liked Split Fiction, and it's probably like my number 2 or 3 game of the year. So I would have loved to see it in these nominees, but it's okay. It's going to be Clair Obscur.
It is, and that's the last category, but it bears repeating that that's just the game of the year, man. That's the Game Awards this year. It's Clair Obscur showing up to receive 12 accolades, and everyone else will pick at the table scrubs.
It's crazy. It kind of goes to show too, like a lot of these categories feel like they're repeating a lot of games. Like it was a good year of games, but I feel like that good year was kind of isolated to like 7 or 8 games. Like and it's kind of shown here in the nominees where like those 7 or 8 have been nominated for pretty much everything.
Yeah, and I guess that's just the nature of the really big games, because like we talked about something like action adventure is like a catch-all. So it's like not only do you need, if you're not going to be one of the biggest games out there, not only do you need to find some way to work your way into one of these categories, it needs to be one that you're not just going to be pushed out from something that gets like, oh, well, it's a little bit of an adventure, so here it's in this one.
Right. Like Hollow Knight, that's an adventure, I guess.
Yeah, and like it is, right? I mean, I understand that's a decent category for it, but it is hard too because things are so multi-genre now. Like some of these that are in action, I could see an argument for like role playing, right? And some of these that are in role playing, I could see an argument for action. It's just things blend genres so much now that I think we talk about getting rid of the indie game category. I think we're going to move to a certain point at one day where a couple of these other genres categories get either like split apart further or blended together. I'm not sure which direction they'll go, but we're kind of seeing the limits of some of the old school categories in the last 10, 15 years because games have just become so all encompassing of like all of their influences over the last 30 years. We're just getting these weird genre blends.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there is room to tweak a lot of these categories. I was honestly kind of surprised that we didn't see any of that this year. I thought maybe they would like do one or two either new categories or tweak categories a little bit, but it looks like they're all pretty much the same. So didn't get that this year, but I could see in the next couple of years them tweaking like how they define some of these genres and how they define like what these games are. But I do think like when it comes down to it, this is a really good list that is representative of the best games of this year. Like I've played all of these except for Kingdom Come 2, and all of these are really high up in what I would consider like great games this year. So yeah, it's a good list. I think it's just Clair Obscur is so far and away the defining experience of the year to me that it's like, it's so easily a lock in my mind.
Well, that about wraps up our episode on 2025's Video Game Award nominees.
You can find this episode, as well as all of our other episodes, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform. And of course, you can find everything we do on our website, gamesgoneby.com.
Signing off for Games Gone By, I'm Adam.
I'm Austin.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. Almost forget to include that at the end, like every single time I do it, and then I'm like in the middle of exporting, and I'm like,
and you're
wait,
no. I need the
Control Z, Control Z.
Back out.